Now, WJC's Purple Playbook brought to you by M&T Bank.
This is Purple Playbook. I'm Alex Glaze. Joining me, as always, two-time Super Bowl champion Torrey Smith. After, I'll just say it, a disastrous game in Kansas City. The Ravens now 1-3. It feels like the Ravens are in serious danger of letting this season slip away.
I think it depends on your perspective. To me, I'm a glass half full person. That's not being a homer because I played for the Ravens, but there's still 13 games left, right? Like, that's the reality of it. I remember being in a situation where we always looked in games as quarters, right? At least that was the way Anquan Boldin taught me to count the season. He said, the season's too long to look at it as a full picture. You got to break it into quarters. And what you have to do is, first of all, the recipe to making the playoffs is to win all your home games and split on the road, right? That generally guarantees you a spot. But when you break it up into quarters, he says you can't have to, if you go 1-3 in a quarter, you better go 3-1 in another, right? Or you have to get a 4-0 quarter to be able to help you to compartmentalize the season. So the way I look at this team, outside of all of the battered and bruised members of the team, is that there's still time left.
You're a glass half full guy. Can you tell me glass half empty? I'm always thinking about everything that can go
Glass
wrong.
half empty is the way the majority of Baltimore feels right now.
Absolutely.
I can't go into the grocery store, my child's practice, and not hear how bad things are and how the world's going to end.
Yeah.
Listen, as long as you have Lamar Jackson as your quarterback, you have a chance, period.
Well, we might not have Lamar Jackson this week, so.
But you'll have him for the majority of the 17 games.
Okay, well, there we go. When I said the Kansas City game was a disaster, I'm not just referring to the game result. The Ravens bitten by that injury bug in a big way. No injury more important than Lamar Jackson. He left the game early in the third quarter with a hamstring injury and missed multiple days of practice this week. His status for Sunday is up in the air, and now Cooper Rush is taking the reps at practice. He could be the starter if Lamar is unable to go. Regardless of who's under center, the team is focused on turning things around.
It's a challenge every day, we go out there with Lamar, without Lamar. We win with Lamar, we lose with Lamar. We can win and lose with anybody. So at the end of the day, it doesn't change the fact that from top down, we got to change the way we do things and how we approach things, to get the end result that we want.
There's a lot to get to with what Bateman just said, but he said top down, got to figure out and change how we're doing things. What does that tell you about just kind of where things are at and how they're looking at things behind the scenes?
I think it's about being consistent and understanding your identity. Right? I say this week in and week out, the Baltimore Ravens, regardless of Lamar Jackson being your quarterback, is a team that's built on dominating in the trenches. Well, the number one way to dominate the trenches is to run the ball, right? And right now the defense has been struggling. So how do you help out a struggling defense? You maintain the ball for the majority of the game. On the possession side, there's multiple ways to win a football game. And when you talk about this team, they're built on running the ball, and Derrick Henry simply hasn't seen the ball enough. So when you talk about top down, you talk about the strategies and what it looks like. Now, as a receiver, that's not necessarily bad news because you're still going to have your opportunities. But I do think when this team, and not even thinking, I know when this team is on schedule, you see it, right? And what I mean by that is when they do well on first down, Derrick Henry started the game off with about 4 yards a pop, and now they were in very manageable situations. Move the ball right on down the field. When you try to throw on first down, now it's 2nd and 10, change the way you call the game. Now all of a sudden you get a penalty or whatever, now it's 3rd and 10, and you're behind the sticks. So this team is at its best when it's balanced with its identity, and I think right now, if you look offensively, it hasn't been as consistent as it has been in the past.
Yeah, well, we're talking about Lamar Jackson potentially being out. That's obviously a big blow to the offense. But Cooper Rush stepping in. He's a veteran, 7 years of NFL experience, and got a little bit of starting time in Dallas. 14 career starts with the Cowboys, and here are his stats as a starter, Torrey. About 60% completion rate, 18 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 85 QBR. It's kind of what you expect from a backup, right? Looks like he's a serviceable guy, and that's what he's been throughout his career. What are you expecting to see from him if he has to step into this role?
I'm expecting him to be a guy that can lead this team to some victories. If you go and you watch Dallas, well, Dallas is a little dysfunctional place for the fans. They're nuts too, right? But when you go and you think about what he did there, he had a stretch where people were wondering if he should be the franchise guy.
I think he won four starts?
Yeah, over Dak Prescott, right? Right, a little delusional there, but it goes to show he has the ability. What this team needs out of him right now is they don't need him to be a hero. They just need him to hand the ball to Derrick Henry and get the ball to Zay Flowers, right, when he's open. Don't miss the easy throws. Don't overcomplicate it by turning the ball over. Take what's there and run the offense because it looks completely different, right? With Lamar Jackson at quarterback, you get more off-schedule plays that are able to change the game. No disrespect to Cooper, but he's not Lamar Jackson with his legs. So it's about being balanced as an offense, which for sure you will see this week, right, and protecting the football in order to get over the hump.
Absolutely. And, what we also need, what they also need is to see him come out and get a win as well. That 1-3 start to the season, not what I don't think anyone was expecting when we started off this season. Mark Andrews actually spoke about believing that there's still plenty of time. You're talking about 13 weeks left in the season. Still time to turn things around.
For us, it's a continue to fight. Everybody here in this organization we're all fighters. We've been through adversity. We know what that looks like, and there's no quit in this group. And I'm excited to show the world that.
Torrey, losing is one thing, but we're going to get to the injuries in a few minutes. But how they've lost these games, on top of that, all of the injuries to the top guys on this team. I hear what Mark's saying, but how tough is it to kind of keep that singular focus when everything seems to be going wrong so early on in the season?
Right. It is tough mentally, but the reality of it is it's the NFL. So the games are going to operate in this way. Now, the injuries, that's something that you really only see on video games, it seems like, right? It's unbelievable to see what his team is health-wise, but it's NFL football, right? They're a player 2 away from beating the Buffalo Bills. That gets you to 2 wins, right? Maybe if you don't fumble the ball versus Detroit, regardless of how the game went, you give yourself a chance to win, right? So now we're talking about a team that could very easily be 3-1, regardless of how bad they played. And so you have to look at the glass half full in terms of we can control a lot of these things. You can't control the health. But this is also where you see why Eric DeCosta gets paid the big bucks and how much did they invest in their youth guys to giving them the opportunity and their backups who have opportunities to step up and go out there and change the game. It's not a place that you want to live for a long time, but when we won a Super Bowl here in 2012, I don't know if folks remember or not, we weren't healthy at all. Right. Guys were dropping like flies, and it allowed younger guys to get opportunities, and we took advantage of that and ended up getting hot at the right time. Glass
half empty guy here. I have one more thing to say on that note. When you looked at the schedule back in May, obviously it started with Buffalo, Kansas City, Week 4. This was always going to be a tough stretch. Mm-hmm. To me, this was the measuring stick for the season, right? When you have 3 Super Bowl caliber teams, also including the Detroit Lions in there, and they failed all those tests. So now when you're looking at the bigger picture of the season, you look at the schedule ahead, and we're going to get to that also. You could look at the schedule. It just doesn't really matter to me what happens over these next couple weeks because to me, this season was always about, can you go to Buffalo and beat the Bills? Can you go to Kansas City and beat the Chiefs? And they weren't able to do that.
Well, outside the Chiefs, right? You don't feel like you can go to Buffalo and win that game?
You can't possibly think that this team can go to Buffalo and win that.
I know for sure we've been in, matter of fact, I can give you another story time. Rookie year, we go to New England. And everyone's like, oh, it's tough to win in New England. You've already lost there before. We go there, we beat New England, right? Or we lose to New England. So then we come in the next year, we're like, no, we're going to go up there. And Anquan Boldin said it out of his mouth. We're going to go to New England and say, what's going to be different between this year and last year? He said, we're going to win. And we went out there and we got it done. I think they have enough vets, enough great leadership. The only thing that's going to get in the way of them is possibly getting it done along the way. They have too much talent to not get it right. It's going to be about health and getting back right at the same time, at the right time.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how the injury bug has just brutally bitten this Ravens team. Who Torrey expects to step up when Purple Playbook continues.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. The winning prognosis, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. Care bravely.
Well, the injury bug has bitten this team in a big way. 14 players listed on Wednesday's injury report. That is a laundry list. And we're not just talking about regular starters. These are Pro Bowl players for the majority of that list. Lamar Jackson, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey. These are guys that left Kansas City's game early. The list goes on and on. Ronnie Stanley. These are big-time contributors on this injury report, Torrey. Just when you see all of the injuries that this Ravens team is dealing with this week and knowing that this is a must-win game for this team, every week from here on out seems like a must-win, especially against AFC opponents. Just what goes through your mind?
Man, just what do you do? Well, I think there's
So your eyes get a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because it looks like if you would have had me blank and look at a Pro Bowl roster, I probably would have thought that was the list for a team, not an injury report, right? It's tough to deal with it because a lot of those guys may not be able to play for some time, but let's take the fandom out of it, or even our analysts had out of it. What does it look like from the locker room? If in the locker room, you're looking at it like, hey, we've shot ourselves in the foot, and we cannot control who's not playing. What we can do is focus on controlling what we can control, and that's being a better team on defense, that's being a more efficient team on offense, and someone feeling like, I'm going to be the reason why we win this game. I'm going to be able to step up in the big moments. And I think right now, it just hasn't been consistent across the board. When you talk about the Ravens, we mentioned the word identity earlier. You know typically what the Ravens are about. The Ravens are used to being the bully. That hasn't been the way this season yet. And that's the key term. All it takes is one win to get that momentum going, but I'm not going to lie. This Texans team was drowning just a few weeks ago, and now they're coming off of a nice little win, got a little momentum going there. Now they play the Tennessee Titans, but either way, it's still a win. Now you're rolling in this game, and you see a wounded Ravens team, and this is also a team that was embarrassed by the Ravens. They're going to be fired up. So I think the biggest thing now is for this team to focus on getting through this week healthy, getting Cooper Rush or Lamar, if hopefully he's healthy enough to play, getting guys ready to play so that they're confident to be able to go out there and play Ravens ball, because at this is the time the rallying cry is, it's us against the world. Nobody believes in us, and let's go out there and get it done.
I don't even know what Ravens ball looks like anymore. Torrey, all right. How many points have the Ravens given up on defense this year? Do you know? 133.
Yeah, record breaking.
Right? I mean, it's the worst of the NFL. What defense were they talking about and comparing themselves to in the summer?
They were talking about my favorite Madden defense.
That 2000
Ravens.
Do you know how many points that 2000s defense gave up?
That was
16 games.
That was they probably gave up more.
165.
Yeah, like I said,
So 32 points away from tying that. So that just kind of puts in perspective where things are.
But that's also why you play the game, right? As much as we talk about it, I'm old enough to remember us up here talking in camp like, this defense, and I'm not going to say anybody, I'm not going to point to anybody who talked about this might be the greatest Ravens defense that we've ever seen. Not to throw anybody under the bus over here, but that's just how it goes.
That's fair.
You have to go out there and play ball, and you definitely said that. But you got to go out there and play ball. And I think, again, that's the beautiful thing about this league, because no matter what, even when something looks great on paper, there's always a curveball thrown in there. The guys that handle it the best are the guys that tend to go on and win.
You know, you're right. I give too many takes. I did say that. So now, plenty of time to turn it around, right? So I can still be right here.
You better start pushing them, because
yeah. But it's been a rough start to the season for the defense, and now looking to some young guys to step up. But Tavius Robinson believes that his guys are ready for the challenge.
We're definitely not pleased with that at all. But again, it's about correcting mistakes. I think everything is very correctable. I think it's just about playing and doing our jobs in our 1 of 11. We have schemes and stuff, and we got to execute them properly, be in the right place. And it's on us as players to go out there and do it.
So T-Rob's putting it on the players. We're talking about a team that could be without Roquan Smith for multiple weeks, Marlon Humphrey for multiple weeks. There's going to be young guys that have to step up and fill in those roles. Who are you kind of looking at to step up in this situation?
I think it's less about the young guys filling in roles and guys taking advantage of the opportunities that they do have, right? You saw Brent Urban that was able to come off of practice squad, a veteran guy, watched him out there. He looked like he was moving well. I think there's something to be said for having a veteran there that's been there when you have a lot of young guys that are going to be circling around. Trent Simpson is a guy at the linebacker position, because if Roquan's out, right, that's a big deal for this team, because Roquan is also – he wears what you call the red star. He's a guy talking on the headset, which to see that shift in real time, to watch them get Kyle Hamilton's helmet out there because he's now communicating the defense, you lose a leader. So it's more about, it's not even just about the on-the-field presence in terms of playing. You actually lose a leader. So who are going to be those guys that are going to step up and continue to keep people going in? And I think Trent Simpson is a guy that's had a spot taken, right, in camp. How is he going to respond to his next opportunity? One of my good teammates, actually in Philadelphia, by the name of Jason Kelsey, popular analyst now. He says, hungry dogs run faster. And so there's so many guys now that are hungry. They were waiting for their opportunity. Now we're going to see what they do with it, because like anybody out here, most people out here, if you're in youth sports, high school ball, whatever, there's a million people on the sidelines that are like, man, if I was out there, I'd do X, Y, and Z. Well, now we're going to see what these guys can do with their opportunity, and I'm looking forward to watching it because it's not ideal from the outside looking in, right? But what is this team made of? And I'm looking forward to seeing how it shapes up.
It's going to be tough, but if I've watched a little bit of the Texans, that offensive line, there's some opportunity there, especially for the pass rush that really has struggled so far this year to maybe get to C.J. Stroud and get things going around this season. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Torrey's friend Joe Flacco. He has been benched. Torrey shares his thoughts when Purple Playbook continues.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. The Bottom Line, brought to you by M&T Bank.
And welcome back to Purple Playbook. It's time for something or nothing. I'm going to throw something out to Torrey, and you're going to tell me how you're feeling about it. We got to start with your friend Joe Flacco. Had a good run, first 4 weeks of the season. Benched in Cleveland. Dylan Gabriel named the starter. Is he going to hang it up? Is this something or nothing? Joe retiring? I don't know.
I think it's something, right? If you get benched, and Joe's not. He loves the game, but he doesn't love the game enough to be a backup, right? He had the opportunity to play. He was having fun. He loves the game. So I think if this is going to be it, which it probably will be, because if you're Cleveland, there's no way you can go from Joe to putting your young guy in and then not possibly giving your third string quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, a chance, because clearly this is the same Cleveland Browns cycle here quarterback-wise. I think there's something to it, and it's tough, but hey, you get what you earn in this league, and that offense wasn't performing the way they should have.
Yeah, well, let's stay in Cleveland and talk about that third quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. Had an interesting interaction with the media earlier this week.
What can you say?
So Shedeur giving a little mime impression there. I guess this is after Dylan Gabriel named the starter there. Just something or nothing, Shedeur, these antics.
I think it's nothing, simply because, I mean, like, what does it mean to anybody, right? He's a backup guy, but also he's been getting heat for talking too much, right? People think he talks too much. People, like when he said, hey, look around the league, like he can do that quarterback play, right? He's a guy that everyone can't wait for him to have his humble pie. They love when it happens, but I think there's nothing to it, right? At the end of the day, the best guy's going to play. And there's our politics in the league when it comes to being picked first. So Dylan Gabriel, and while I've heard from guys that I know, he has been very sharp. He knows his playbook. He's doing the little things right. That's earned him the nod to be able to get his shot. So Shedeur had to wait his turn. And, you hate to be the guy that's hoping someone fails, right, for you to get your chance. But the reality of it is, that's what it is. Dylan Gabriel is going to have the opportunity to do it first. And then if he stinks it up for some time, then you'll have to give Shedeur his shot.
Ironically, if the reports are true, Shedeur could be competing for a starting job here right now with Lamar's injury. I mean, if the reports are true.
They say. Like, I haven't heard that. They turned down being drafted to the Ravens. I'm not sure how much power a guy has to not be picked, but it was a talking point. I don't know. We have to find out the truth of that. We didn't hear the Ravens say anything, so I'm just going to mind my business.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last one we got for you. Packers-Cowboys ended in a tie last week. I stayed up late, past my bedtime. I had my AirPods in, laying in the bed. My girlfriend doesn't let me have the TV on, late at night. That's a whole different story. But the game ended in a tie. I think these rules need to change. What do you think? Something or nothing with the tie rule?
I hate it. It's definitely something. They need to change the rule. I think a tie in any level of life gives in to participation trophy energy, and I hate it. If there's a winner and there's a loser, I get TV time, all of that. No. We need to know who won, because right now, Michael Parsons had one of the best plays we'll see to help close out his team, and they clearly couldn't get it done. But then now, what do we have to talk about here? Oh, they tied, and at the end of the year, we're going to be counting playoff wins, and they're going to get their little half point. It's terrible. Pick a winner and keep it moving.
I agree. I like just settling things, but I also understand from a player safety perspective, right? Just
player safety. That's the thing. Is that a real thing?
They don't want to be playing all night. And you got to give someone
All
a
right,
chance. They can't keep going
I
back
guess
and
we'll
forth.
say that, yeah, you'll
I
play.
do like that they made the change to give the other team a chance. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
that's
both
better.
teams being guaranteed
But
possession.
it was still a tie.
I don't like that.
They need to go to college overtime.
I don't know about that.
You cut it down. Like, they wasted a whole quarter. Someone would have failed in the red zone 25 yards before you take the chance on somebody stopping somebody for a whole quarter of going back and forth ball.
Okay, I'm not against that. All right, we're gonna take a quick break and wrap up the show. When we come back, stay with us. More Purple Playbook ahead.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. Now, WJC's Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank.
And welcome back to Purple Playbook. As we wrap things up, Torrey, got to get a little food take from you because you just spent some time in Kansas City. You were there for the game. Kansas City barbecue, how does it stack up against Texas barbecue, some of the other staples down south?
Trash. I've probably spent $400, maybe $500 myself on trying multiple barbecue restaurants in the Kansas City area. I'm a guy, like, if you say they're famous for this, I want to know. I want to know the best spot. I want to know where your mom goes. I want to know all of these things. And Kansas City barbecue is terrible. Everyone lied to me about all of these places we should go to. I'm not going to name any restaurants.
Was it dry or what was it?
The barbecue sauce was terrible, no flavor. Didn't feel like they seasoned anything. One of them about chipped the tooth, biting into my rib. And it just wasn't good. So to me, if you come to Maryland and someone messes up the way they steam the crabs, you should be upset. But listen, barbecue in Kansas City, not it.
And every picture I've seen, the sides too, the mac and cheese doesn't look like it has any crust or anything.
Terrible.
It's just. All right, well, that'll do it for this week's Purple Playbook. For Torrey Smith, I'm Alex Glaze. We do this show every week. And we'll be back. We got to dig up that clip of me saying it's the best roster ever because it's pretty funny. Look for that on social media. We'll be back next week.
Big up,